Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the history of a South American gem, a nation often called the Switzerland of South America. That's right, we're exploring the incredible story of Europe, from its indigenous roots to its modern-day status as a beacon of stability. Uruguay's journey is a fascinating tale of resilience, revolution, and reform. So grab your mate, get comfortable, and let's rewind the clock. Before any European ships dotted the horizon, the land we now call Uruguay was home to several indigenous groups, most notably the Chara people. These were semi-nomadic hunters and gatherers, fiercely independent and masters of their environment. They thrived along the fertile banks of the Rio de la Plata for thousands of years. Their story is a crucial, though often overlooked, chapter in Uruguay's history. The arrival of Europeans in the 16th century, starting with the Spanish explorer Juan Díaz de Solís in 1516, marked a dramatic turning point. Unlike other parts of the Americas rich in gold or silver, this region, known as the Banda Oriental or eastern bank of the Uruguay River, didn't offer immediate riches. This, combined with the fierce resistance from the Chara, meant that for a long time, the Spanish and Portuguese largely left the area alone. It wasn't until the 17th and 18th centuries that things really started to heat up. The strategic importance of the Rio de la Plata estuary, the gateway to the continent's interior, made the Banda Oriental a massive bone of contention between the Spanish and Portuguese colonial empires. Think of it as a centuries-long tug-of-war. The Portuguese, pushing south from Brazil, founded Colonial do Sacramento in 1600 e. In response, the Spanish established their own stronghold Montevideo in 1726. This rivalry defined the colonial era, with the territory changing hands multiple times. Montevideo quickly grew into a major port and military base, its population a mix of Spanish officials, soldiers, merchants, and enslaved Africans, whose labor was crucial to the city's development. The countryside, meanwhile, was transformed by the introduction of cattle, giving rise to a new and iconic figure, the gaucho, the South American cowboy. These rugged, independent horsemen became the symbol of the wild, open plains of the Banda Oriental. Now, let's fast forward to the early 19th century, a time of revolution across the Americas. The spirit of independence, ignited by events in Europe and the United States, swept through the Spanish colonies, and the Banda Oriental was right in the thick of it. Enter the man who would become Uruguay's national hero, José Gervasio Artigas. Artigas wasn't your typical revolutionary leader. He was a federalist who envisioned not just an independent nation, but a league of autonomous. His cry of land for the landless resonated deeply with the rural population, the gauchos, and the disenfranchised. He led a gritty, grassroots rebellion against Spanish rule, and later, against the ambitions of both Buenos Aires and Portugal. His struggle, known as the Oriental Revolution, was long and brutal. Though he was eventually forced into exile in Paraguay, his ideas of federalism, social justice, and national sovereignty laid the very foundation for the Uruguayan identity. He is, without a doubt, the father of Uruguay. After Artigas' exile, the fight for control of the Banda Oriental continued. This time, it was between the newly independent Argentina and the Empire of Brazil. Both of them claimed the territory. This led to the Cisplatin War. After years of conflict, neither side could gain a decisive upper hand. This is where Great Britain stepped in. Fearing that a single power controlling both banks of the Rio de la Plata would disrupt their valuable trade routes, the British mediated a peace treaty. The 1828 Treaty of Montevideo was the result, and it created a brand new, independent, buffer state, the Oriental Republic of Uruguay. It was a pragmatic solution, born more from geopolitical strategy than a pure desire for Uruguayan independence. But it put Uruguay on the map. On July 18, 1830, Uruguay adopted its first constitution, a date that is still celebrated as the country's national day. Independence, however, didn't bring immediate peace. The 19th century in Uruguay was dominated by a bitter and prolonged civil conflict known as the Guerra Grande, or Grey War. This wasn't just a local squabble. It was a complex international conflict that lasted from 1839 to 1851. The two warring factions were the Blancos, or Whites, led by Manuel Uribe, and the Colorados, or Reds, led by Fructuoso Rivera. These were Uruguay's two traditional political parties, and their rivalry would define the country's politics for over a century. The Blancos were generally conservative, representing rural landowners, while the Colorados were more liberal, with their power base in the urban center of Montevideo. The Guerra Grande saw Montevideo endure a grueling 9-year siege, earning it the title New Troy. The conflict drew in Argentina, Brazil, and even European powers like France and Britain. The eventual victory of the Colorados, with Brazilian help, finally brought the war to an end. But the deep political divisions remained. The late 19th and early 20th centuries marked a period of massive transformation. European immigrants, mainly from Spain and Italy, flocked to Uruguay, fueling population growth and economic development. The country became a major exporter of beef and wool, and its economy boomed. This era of relative peace and prosperity set the stage for one of the most remarkable periods in Uruguayan history. Under the leadership of Colorado Party President José Bato, who served 2 terms in the early 1900s, Uruguay underwent a radical series of social and political reforms. Bato was a visionary. He championed a strong welfare state, establishing an 8-hour workday, unemployment benefits, and old age pensions. He separated church and state, promoted public education, and even legalized divorce. These reforms were so advanced for their time that Uruguay earned its nickname, the Switzerland of South America. It became a model of democratic stability and social progress in a continent often plagued by political turmoil. This golden age lasted until the mid-20th century, but like many nations, Uruguay was not immune to the economic troubles and political polarization of the Cold War era. Economic stagnation in the 1950s and 60s led to widespread social unrest. This period saw the rise of the Tupamaros, a left-wing urban guerrilla movement. Their actions, which included kidnappings and robberies, destabilized the country and created a climate of fear. The government's response became increasingly repressive. This culminated in a 1973 military coup. For the next 12 years, Uruguay was ruled by a brutal civic-military dictatorship. Political parties were banned, censorship was imposed, and thousands of people were imprisoned, tortured, or forced into exile. It was a dark and traumatic chapter that shattered the country's democratic tradition. But the spirit of Uruguayan democracy, though suppressed, was not extinguished. By the early 1980s, facing a severe economic crisis and growing popular opposition, the military regime began to weaken. Massive public protests and a general strike in 1984 finally forced the military to negotiate a return to civilian rule. In 1985, democratic elections were held, and Uruguay began the difficult process of rebuilding its institutions and healing the wounds of the past. Since its return to democracy, Uruguay has re-established itself as one of Latin America's most stable and progressive nations. It has consistently ranked high in measures of democracy, press, freedom, and quality of life. The country has continued its tradition of pioneering social legislation, becoming the first Latin American nation to legalize same-sex marriage nationwide, and creating a legal, state-regulated cannabis market. From the resilience of the Shara to the vision of Artigas, from the bitter struggles of the Guerra Grande to the progressive reforms of Battle, and from the darkness of dictatorship to the bright dawn of a restored democracy, the history of Uruguay is a powerful story. It's a testament to the enduring quest for freedom, justice, and stability. Today, this small nation stands tall, a beacon of what's possible when a country commits to its democratic ideals. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey through Uruguay's past. I hope you found it as fascinating as I do. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and do not forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you do not miss our next historical adventure. Let me know in the comments what other country's history you'd like to see covered. Until next time.